The story began 18 years ago, when a mysterious tower suddenly appeared, along with a gate. From within that gate, monsters began pouring out into the world. In response to this crisis, a small number of people awakened to superhuman powers and became known as players. These players were hailed as humanity's last hope, emerging as a new and powerful force. Over time, the player economy rose to prominence. Players became symbols of wealth, subjects of envy, and celebrated heroes. But not everyone was chosen. The main character of the story was not among the blessed. At that time, he was simply a food delivery worker. He had just dropped off an order when the customer thanked him and asked him to leave the food on the table. He complied, setting the food down and telling them to enjoy their meal. Later, while waiting at a traffic light, he looked up at a billboard and sighed. It featured a newly awakened hero, Seokwoo Yu, who was just 18 years old and already a retainer of a unique ability. The main character felt a deep sense of frustration. He knew that unique ability users were superhumans. Among superhumans, individuals with unimaginable power. They were players so strong they were practically monsters. His thoughts were interrupted when someone behind him shouted to move, as the light had already changed. Snapping out of his daydream, he continued on his way and eventually returned home from work. As he approached his house, he noticed a pile of letters posted on the door. Reading them one by one, he was overwhelmed. Loan notices, hospital bills, school fees. With a heavy sigh, he muttered to himself that he wasn't sure what he had been expecting. Inside, his younger sister greeted him. He asked why she was still awake so late, and she explained she was working on her homework. He then asked if their mother had gone to sleep yet, to which she replied that she had just fallen asleep and was sleeping, more soundly than usual. Curious, he asked if she had given their mother a massage while he was out. But before she could answer, his sister surprised him by pulling out a small birthday cake and wishing him a happy 18th birthday. Shocked, he asked how she managed to buy a cake and whether she had spent the money he had given her for clothes. She told him that she had saved up money and, with a smile, threatened to eat the whole cake if he didn't. Looking at his sister's worn-out clothes, he felt a wave of emotion. He patted her on the head and thanked her warmly. She then asked if he wanted to read the letter before they ate the cake. Curious, he agreed. Opening the envelope, his eyes widened in disbelief. It was a player invitation. He began to shake, barely able to believe what he was seeing. His sister smiled through her tears and explained that she had taken the letter from the mailbox to surprise him. Hugging him tightly, she congratulated him. In that moment, he thought to himself that he had finally made it, that from now on, their lives would be different. He could finally provide for them, finally chase his dreams. The next morning, he stood before the South Korean Player Association, overwhelmed by the grandeur of the building. But he reminded himself to stay focused. This was just the beginning. Inside, a receptionist welcomed him by name, player Gigyu Kim. He thanked her, and she began explaining the basics. She told him that saying Info tab would bring up his player information, and encouraged him to try it. When Gigyu did, his status appeared in front of him. But he was startled to see question marks beside the unique ability section. He asked what that meant. The receptionist gasped and congratulated him. He was a unique ability retainer. The reason for the question marks, she explained, was that his ability had yet to manifest. He was stunned. She was right. He was truly a unique ability user, and the realization made him tremble with excitement. As they spoke, another man nearby had been quietly listening. Just then, the man stepped forward and politely interrupted. The receptionist turned, expecting Gigyu's assigned trainer, but was shocked to see that it was none other than Seokwoo Yu, the very hero on the billboard from before. Gigyu was just as surprised. Seokwoo asked if he could serve as Gigyu's guide, adding that he had overheard the conversation and noticed. Gigyu was a unique ability retainer. The receptionist noted that such a request was unusual and technically not allowed, but said she would let it slide this time, as Seokwoo could use his authority. After all, he wasn't just any guide. He was a professional player manager with over 10 years of experience. Seokwoo thanked her, and before long, he and Gigyu stood before the portal zone. Gigyu was filled with anticipation. It was his first time seeing the entrance to the tower. Seokwoo asked if he was ready. Gigyu replied nervously, Okay. Once inside, Gigyu asked whether it was always this crowded with monsters on the first floor. Seokwoo responded that while monster spawn rates could cause buildups like this, it was rare even for him to see. When Gigyu asked if this wasn't dangerous, Seokwoo smiled and said that it was actually perfect. He could use this opportunity to teach. He then asked if Gigyu had heard of the 100 Goblin test. Gigyu nodded, saying it was the test whose results were considered accurate, but had been banned due to its danger. Seokwoo confirmed this and explained that the test was designed to gauge the potential of players. Below level 10, measuring how long it took to kill 100 goblins without using any skills. He added that clearing the test in 4 to 5 hours indicated high potential. 2 to 3 hours suggested potential to become a ranker, and clearing it in under 1 hour was a sign of high ranker potential. Gigyu was impressed, but Seokwoo wasn't finished. He concluded by saying that unique ability retainers were expected to complete the test in under 10 minutes. Shocked, Gigyu began to grasp just how powerful such players were. Seokwoo then proceeded to slaughter all the monsters. His time, 47 seconds. Gigyu could barely process it. He asked if it really only took 10 minutes for unique ability users when regular high rankers needed an hour. Seokwoo explained that what took normal players years to accomplish, unique ability users could achieve in just months. That, he said, was the true potential of unique abilities. Seokwoo then asked Gigyu if he was familiar with the Angela Guild. Gigyu replied that it was known for having an incredibly young guildmaster. Seokwoo confirmed that and added that many Angela members had passed the 100 Goblin test in under 3 hours. But his own goal, he said, was to build a guild that could surpass even Angela. For that, he needed talented players, especially ones like Gigyu. He encouraged Gigyu to continue pushing beyond his limits, and with a smile, asked if they were ready to begin their first hunt. He taught Gigyu how to stand, how to move, advising him to tighten his stance, and track the goblin's axe with his eyes. Gigyu, in that moment, promised himself that he would change his life. 5 years later, some spectators watched a player fighting alone against goblins. He was out of breath, but still fighting. One onlooker noted how exhausted the man looked and asked if the 100 Goblin test was trending again. Another said that's what he had thought at first, too. The player, now clearly Gigyu, quietly muttered, "Info tab," and checked his status window. What he saw filled him with despair. He had received his player invitation at 18, blessed with a unique ability, supposedly the privilege of the chosen few. Yet 5 years had passed. It still took him hours to kill a single goblin. He was still level 1, and no one could have imagined a player like him existed. The goblin was suddenly slashed down. The newly awakened player was the one who killed it, and with that, a wave of relief washed over him. Soon after, everyone gathered together after their training session. They all thanked Gigyu for his guidance. Gigyu asked if everyone had leveled up, and they all responded enthusiastically that they did. Even the chubby man laughed and said, "I think goblins are pretty easy now. Doesn't even feel like we hunted that many, and we still leveled up." Gigyu nodded. "Leveling up is always easy in the beginning." Then he added, "Tomorrow we'll challenge the second floor. I'll see you all at the entrance in the morning." After he left, the team started chatting among themselves. "Gigyu's actually pretty famous," someone said. "Really? What's he famous for?" another teammate asked. The guy in the blue jacket leaned in. "There are a few rumors about him. Some say he's a unique ability retainer." "What? Seriously?" one of them gasped. "But they're just rumors," Blue Jacket shrugged. "If it were true, why would he be working here?" "Good point. Oh, and there's another one. People say he's the lowest-ranked player of them all." "There are rankings for the bottom too?" Someone laughed. "It's kind of absurd, right?" Blue Jacket smirked. "He's not a ranker or anything. No one says it out loud, but everyone knows. They even gave him a nickname, the dysfunctional leveling player." That night, Gigyu headed to his usual spot after finishing work. It was a rundown, hidden corner on the first floor, a place most players never visited, but Gigyu knew this place well. After all, no one had spent more time on the lower floors than he had. This was his secret spot where a single goblin spawned once a day. When the goblin appeared, Gigyu prepared to strike. He thought to himself, If I can hit its vital spot before it notices me, this should be easy. He slowly crept toward the goblin, ready to attack. Sweat trickled down his face. He was nervous. But the goblin noticed him first and lunged. Gigyu narrowly dodged. The fight began. The goblin overpowered him, forcing him on the defensive. Gigyu gritted his teeth. Looks like it's going to be another hard fight today. Later, at the Player Association building, Gigyu muttered to himself, "An hour, just to kill one goblin." He had earned $20 from selling its crystal. After subtracting potion costs, he made no profit at all. Just then the door opened. It was Teo. "Oh, getting off work?" Gigyu asked. "Yeah," Teo replied shortly. "You're working late these days." Teo didn't respond. He looked irritated. As he passed Gigyu, he muttered, "Sorry about what happened." "Huh? What are you talking about?" Gigyu asked. Confused, Gigyu walked into the room. Inside was Taishik, the manager of the guide department. Gigyu asked, "Hey, is something going on with Teo?" Taishik sighed. "The clients you were in charge of today, Teo will be taking over them starting tomorrow." Gigyu was stunned. "What? Why? Everything went fine today." "They probably heard the rumors," Taishik said flatly. Gigyu went silent. "I don't get what that has to do with being a guide," Taishik added. "It can't be helped." "It's true, after all," Gigyu replied quietly. Just then, the news on TV caught his attention. The Angela Guild had declared their intention to clear the 75th floor. The announcer confirmed that their team would depart through the Soul Gate the next morning. "No matter where you go, it's always about players," Gigyu muttered. "Even though most civilians won't ever go near the tower?" "Well, players are basically celebrities," Taishik replied. "Since gates can open anywhere, anyone has a chance to become a player. To people, it's not an unattainable dream, not an unattainable goal, huh?" Gigyu thought to himself bitterly. For him, it felt impossibly far away. He turned off the TV. "Hey, I was still watching that," Taishik protested. Taishik handed over Gigyu's paycheck. "Here's your salary for today." "Oh? And about Teo?" "He may seem cold, but he feels bad about this. So don't hate him." "It's not his fault," Gigyu replied. "He doesn't need to apologize either." "Well, make sure you come in early tomorrow for the client handoff." "And a new job request came in. They asked for you specifically." Gigyu's eyes widened. "Really?" The next day, a man introduced himself. "Nice to meet you." "I'm Seonpil Kim. I'm Kim Gigyu," he replied. "I've heard a lot about you." "From Seokwu." Gigyu was stunned. "Seokwu? You know him?" "We're cousins." Gigyu silently thanked Seokwu in his heart. Then he asked, "So you're the team leader? Could you introduce your teammates?" "Of course," Seonpil said, and introduced the other 3 members of the party. Gigyu laid out the plan. "For the next 4 days and 5 nights, we'll rapidly push through the tutorial floors. I trust you're all prepared. I'll explain the rest along the way." After the day's battles, Gigyu called for a stop and began setting up camp. He lit the burner. "Need help?" one of the girls asked. "No, it's fine. Just rest after you've set up your tents," he replied. Soon, delicious aromas filled the air. "Wow, that smells amazing," someone said. "Are you a chef or something?" "It'll be ready soon." "Everyone, come sit and eat," Gigyu said. As they gathered, the brown-haired guy suddenly asked, "I heard you can't level up." "Is that true?" Seonpil looked shocked by his teammate's bluntness. But Gigyu just nodded. "Yeah, it's true. Feel free to ask anything else you're curious about." "Sorry," the guy said sheepishly. "So," Gigyu asked, "how was the hunt today?" "It wasn't as bad as we expected," someone replied. "We got scratched a bit, but potions healed us right away." Gigyu nodded. "The goblins on the first floor are weak and poorly equipped. Their movements are predictable. Think of it as training, for getting used to killing. If you stay alert and keep working hard, you'll be fine." He added, "As long as you don't run into a guardian, that is." "What's a guardian?" one of them asked. "They're floor protectors, boss monsters. Guilds or large parties are usually the ones who fight them. Think of them like gatekeepers, tough, high-level enemies. They drop a lot of experience and items, but they're dangerous. Even rankers avoid them if they can." Everyone grew tense hearing that. "But don't worry," Gigyu said. "They appear on a set schedule, and there are guilds that specialize in hunting them. On lower floors, they get taken out quickly. Honestly, it's harder to run into one even if you wanted to. Meanwhile, on the fourth floor, the border between wilderness and forest, an orc was fleeing in terror. He tripped over a rock and crashed to the ground. He looked behind him. Another orc was approaching. But this one was different. Just the sight of him made the first orc tremble. And then he was killed. The one who struck him down wasn't a regular orc. It was a guardian. Day 2 of the tutorial. Second floor. The next day, the team climbed to the second floor. Orcs appeared, and while they looked way more intimidating than goblins, they turned out to be slow and easy to deal with. Gigyu, still acting like the tour guide he was, had no trouble helping the group clear the floor. Day 3, third floor. More orcs, more goblins. But this time, they came in groups. Not that it mattered. They were still too dumb to work together. Gigyu, being Gigyu, casually started a fight between the goblins and orcs by tossing a single pebble. Yeah, that's how low the difficulty was, for him, at least. Thanks to him picking safe routes and avoiding traps, the party was leveling up like it was a free trial. It finally made sense why Seokwu had recommended this guy. Later, Gigyu noticed Seonpil scribbling in a notebook. "What are you writing?" "A diary. Been doing it since I got the invitation. Who knows? Might turn it into an autobiography when I become a ranker. That might actually happen," Gigyu replied. Seonpil grinned and said tomorrow was a big one, the 5th floor test. He was itching to get a job already. The girl asked what job she might get. The fat guy chimed in too, still brushing his teeth. The whole team laughed. Meanwhile, Gigyu was just quietly tossing wood into the fire, listening. Then he stared into the flames, his smile fading. He muttered to himself, "The 5th floor?" Next morning, 4th floor begins. They moved out. Gigyu gave a rundown of the 4th floor. Same enemies, just a little stronger and faster. Nothing too different from yesterday. The battle began. Seonpil charged an orc head-on. Others fought goblins. Gigyu stood in the back as usual, watching and analyzing. But then he noticed something. A dust cloud. That was not supposed to happen. The Guardian isn't supposed to appear today. Something's wrong. Gigyu immediately shouted for everyone to wrap it up and run. He didn't hesitate, grabbed his bag and bolted, warning the others. This isn't a game. One mistake and it's all over. That mistake, it happened instantly. One guy got his foot smashed. An orc was about to finish him. Seonpil rushed in to block the blow. Then the girl got attacked. She was completely exposed. Gigyu panicked. One wrong move, and the whole party's dead. Then came the silhouette. The Guardian. Gigyu's face dropped. It was massive, and it was real. He grabbed his smoke grenade and screamed, "Everyone run!" He tossed the smoke bomb and guided the party toward a hidden cave. He'd been here before. He knew this route. Safe, for now. Breathing heavily, the team made it inside. Seonpil asked what that monster was. "That was the 4th floor Guardian," Gigyu said, still rattled. "It's not supposed to appear. Something's not right." He reassured them they had food and supplies. They could wait for rescue. But then, "Gigyu!" the fat guy called. "The girl's not waking up." Gigyu ran over. "Poison, goblin poison. It's okay. Just need to give her the antidote." But when he checked his bag, it wasn't there. He froze. "No way, I must have dropped it while we were running. Damn it!" He took a deep breath. He couldn't panic, not in front of everyone. He told them he'd go out and fire the rescue signal. Everyone objected. But Gigyu just smiled. "Relax, I've roamed these floors more than anyone. I'll be fine. I don't look like much, but I'm the best level 1 in the world." The solo mission begins. He ran through the woods, mentally tracing every path. He only had one smoke grenade left. He just needed 3 minutes to reach the hill and shoot the flare. Just don't run into the Guardian. But of course, that's exactly what happened. Boom! The Guardian slammed him from behind. He flew through the air, crashed into a rock, and spat blood. Still, he got up, tossed the smoke grenade, stumbled forward. He wouldn't die here. I'm not falling for the same trick twice. He finally reached the hill, pulled out the flare, fired it. Boom! Bright red signal in the sky. Now just survive. Just get some distance. But what stood in front of him? The 5th floor gate. The one floor he'd sworn to avoid. A death trap for level 1s. He slumped against the door, exhausted. Why am I here? I can't even beat the 4th floor. How can I survive this? Then, boom, boom, boom. The Guardian was charging again. Gigyu clenched his fists. Certain death here, or uncertain death behind that door. He pushed it open, stepped through, and with one final shout, "Let's have a look at what's behind this damn door." Gigyu was unconscious. Everything was dark. Then a robotic voice echoed, "You have met the requirements. You have entered the first test room, confirming player information. Unconfirmed ability discovered. You have met the conditions. Difficulty is being lowered." Gigyu's eyes fluttered open. What he saw was a goat, just standing there, staring at him. Then ping! A panel popped up in front of him. First test, hunt the goat. Gigyu blinked. Was this some kind of joke? He attacked the goat. It didn't even fight back. Then more panels. Test passed. Job determined. Unconfirmed ability detected. Reward will be distributed. Perfect clear. Quality of reward has been increased. Gigyu stood there, confused. I came in here ready to die, and I get a goat? He turned to the side. Shh! A shadow wrapped around him. Suddenly, a childlike voice echoed through the black void. Hey, what are you? Gigyu looked around, panicked. Everything was pitch black. He didn't recognize this place. Where am I? Are you my master? The voice asked. Gigyu blinked. Master? Damn it! The voice scolded him like a grumpy kid. This idiot can't even answer a question, and he's my master. Gigyu, still overwhelmed, asked, What are you even talking about? I've waited so long for this. Whatever. Just give me a name already. A name? Yes, a name. I'm telling you to link with me. Then came the robotic voice again. Ego has requested a link. Please choose a name for the ego. A sudden light appeared. Gigyu's eyes shot open. Two people were in front of him. It was his sister and Taishik. They rushed to his side. Gigyu, are you awake? Taishik hit the emergency bell, calling for a nurse. Later at the hospital room, turns out it had been 2 weeks since they found him, unconscious at the entrance to the 5th floor. Taishik explained what happened. The moment the flare went off, players from the guild rushed in. They managed to corner the Guardian that had gone berserk. But it escaped. Still, the party was rescued. Everyone lived. Gigyu finally relaxed. Later, he called his mom. Told her he'd be discharged soon after a few more tests. The insurance had covered everything, and his sister didn't need to visit. Anymore, just stay home and take care of their mom. He ended the call with a smile. I'll call again once the discharge date's set. But even then, even after clearing the 5th floor, he was still level 1. No job change, no stat explosion. But on his finger, a ring was glowing bright red. At the tower entrance, Gigyu walked confidently toward the tower gate. Dozens of players were in battle, fighting off goblins. Everyone turned. Everyone stared. Is that him? Is he really that famous? Told you. That's the guy. Blue-haired guy. Famous for what? Black-haired guy. You haven't heard? The guy who can't level up. Then the gray-haired guy jumped in. That's old news now. He's famous for something else. He's the tutorial slaughterer. Gigyu dropped his bag, took a stance. He raised his hand. Crack! Red lightning sparked. A sword appeared. He charged. Boom! Goblins and orcs fell like dominoes. He danced through them, lightning flashing, red aura crackling. He leapt. Crash! Almost split the ground in two. As he fought, a thought popped into his head. That voice, it told me to give it a name. Still mid-slash, still mowing down monsters. He muttered, Luo. What? Your name. It's Lu. Suddenly, the little boy's voice returned. Lu, I like it. A red lightning panel flashed like it had been slashed through by a blade. Gigyu finished off the last enemy. The floor was cleared. And new panels appeared. Name, Gigyu Kim. Level 1. Job, Ego's partner. Unique ability, Link. Can link with Ego. Skill, Synchronize. Integrate with linked Ego and use Ego's abilities. Panel, Lu's stats. Name, Lu. Level 8. Strength, 18. Dexterity, 18. Stamina, 7. Magic, 7. Skill, accessorize. So yeah, Gigyu Kim. Still level 1. Still technically a guide. But now, he's got a sword with a soul. A name that echoes through the tutorial floors. And the power to make monsters beg for mercy. The tutorial's slaughterer is just getting started. Gigyu was collecting crystals. His bag was nearly full. He looked at the glowing stones in his hands and let out a sigh. Feels like just yesterday, I was shaking over 1 or 2 orcs. Now, collecting these things just felt like extra work. He held one up. Right, Lou? Flashback 1 month ago. Deep in a quiet forest. Gigyu stared at a system panel. Ego's partner, huh? It wasn't a dream. Good thing he ran back into the tower the moment he got discharged. Memory cut, his sister yelling. You just came back from almost dying. And now you want to go where? Yeah, he'd probably get a full scolding once he got home again. But still. My info tab changed for the first time in 5 years. I can't just sit still. He wondered. How do I even link with this ego thing? He tried a bunch of things. Fancy stances. Cool poses. Nothing worked. He looked down. His shoelaces were untied. Ugh, I got too excited. Thank goodness no one comes out here. He rubbed his head, frustrated. What am I even doing? I gave that bratty voice a name. Lou. Suddenly, a flash of red light exploded in front of him. Formless ego Lou has been summoned. Gigyu flinched. Appearance has not been formed. Due to players' lack of ability, Lou's form will be chosen at random. Ingredients will be absorbed automatically. Wait, it worked? Gigyu beamed with joy. Until... Wait, ingredients? What ingredients? Panic mode. His bag started shaking. The contents started flying into the red light. No, that's $5,000 worth of gear. His clothes started getting sucked in. My clothes too? He clutched his pants in horror. Not this. Anything but this. Miraculously, his pants survived. Boom! The crystal pulsed violently. And then it appeared. A black sword with a single glowing eye on its hilt. First encounter. Gigyu stared. You're Lou, right? Yes. How many times do I have to say it? Gigyu took a breath. Stay calm. So what are you? A soul? I'm not a soul. Then what are you? I don't know. Also, stop touching me. Gigyu sighed. Can you move on your own? Not yet. Maybe in the future. Can you break links by yourself? Nope. That's up to the master. Can you hurt me? Technically, yes. But if you die, I die too. So, kinda dumb. Do you feel pain? Of course. I'm a distinguished ego. I can feel all emotions. And if settings allow, all sensations too. Gigyu slowly picked up a rock. What's that? Lou asked, suspicious. Panel appears. Enable Lou's pain perception. Yes, no. Gigyu raised the rock. Manners. Bonk. Lou. Ow! Back to present. Gigyu slashed through orcs like paper. Panels appear rapid fire. Lou is absorbing blood. Experience acquired. Lou has leveled up. Stats increased. Gigyu wiped his blade clean. Looking back, Lou sure rebelled a lot. What an embarrassing memory, Master, Lou said. I still get chills thinking about it. Gigyu gave a death glare at his ring. What? Chill, Master. I feel blessed to be with such a gentle soul. Gigyu smirked. Yeah. Anyway, bag's full. Time to head back. Feels good going out again, Master. Next time, maybe we'll try a gate instead of the tower. Taishik's warning. No gates, Taishik said firmly. Why not? Gigyu asked. 4 high rankers died in a U.S. gate last week. And now F-rank gates are turning into C ranks. Some have weird constructions, twisted architecture. This has never happened before in 23 years. Gigyu froze. A month ago, that's when I met Lou. I'm not saying avoid them forever, Taishik added. But for now, stay away from danger. I know you're excited, but just hold back a little. Gigyu nodded. Thanks for looking out for me. As they parted, Taishik smirked. Good job out there, tutorial slaughterer. Gigyu was annoyed. Gigyu stood in front of the Player Association building, deep in thought. High concentration crystals, rare items, clear bounties. Gates are way more profitable than the tower. But Taishik's warning echoed in his head. Don't go into any gates for now. The anomalies, the deaths, the unknown risks. Still, I can barely afford the interest on my loans. Gigyu clenched his phone. I don't want to ignore Taishik's advice, but I don't really have a choice. Nearby, someone muttered. What's the worst that could happen? Anomaly gates are rare anyway. Gigyu glanced down at his screen. The app for players was open. A listing stood out. Looking for team members, low-rank gate, immediate departure. He stared at it, paused, then tapped it. The call started to connect. Gigyu made his choice.